Hello everyone. Today we will learn about the conditional statements. So what are conditional statements? Conditional statements are such statements which works only whenever there is a condition met. If the condition is met, there is a certain steps that would activate, and if the condition is not, there is another set of steps that will be activated. So today we will learn about three such statements, that is if, and or. Okay, so if you have not checked out my previous videos, you can click the I symbol at the top, or I have placed a card over there which you can refer later. For now, let's get started with the conditional statements. Here I have a set of data with name, their score in mathematics, science and physical studies. At the end I have given the total value, which is the sum of all the subjects together, and here are certain questions for which we are going to use the conditional statements. So let's get started. So here we need to check whether the person is pass or fail. Let's consider that the passing mark for any student to pass any subject is 30, and let's say that a person is pass if the total score is above 90. That means if the total score is above 90, that means the person is pass. How can we write a formula to show whether he is pass or fail? So we could use something called the if condition. How do we write it? We'll start with an equal to sign. If press tab. So here the logical test is nothing but if this value is greater than or equal to 90, comma, value if true is nothing but what should be the value here if it is true. So how do we write that? We'll put a double quote here and write pass, close the double quote. That means if this condition, if this logical test is true, then it has to return pass, comma, value if false. If this logical test value is false, then we have to return fail. So the double quote FAIL, close the double quote and close the bracket, press enter. That's it. So you get pass or fail. So apparently looks like this person is pass because his total score is above 90. Okay, so how can we get the same for the other people, right? So you can click and drag, right? Or else let me press Ctrl Z, that is undo, or you can just double click here. You see the mouse cursor is changing its appearance, so double click when that happens and there you go. So as you can see, everybody looks pass except for this guy because his total is less than 90. Okay, that's about if statement. We will use if statement more so that it's easy for you to understand. Then we have mathematical scholarship. So mathematical scholarship is attained to somebody who has above 50 in their mathematics score. So if a person has above 50 here, that means he gets a mathematical scholarship. So let's write a formula for it. So equal to sign if tab. You can pause the video here and do it yourself, or you can follow me. Logical test is nothing but if this value is greater than or equal to 50, comma, value if true is nothing but if this criteria is satisfied, then they have to be eligible. So let me write eligible in double quotes. Alright, close the double quotes, comma, if it is false, value if false. So double quotes, not eligible. Close the double quotes and close the bracket and press enter. So looks like this person is eligible since his score in mathematics is more than 50. Let me just double click here again so that we know who is eligible and who is not. So that's about if statement. So next we will look at the sports scholarship. If the physical studies score is above 50 and if the total score is above 150, then that person is eligible for a sports scholarship. So how can we write that? So here we looked at if So now we look at something called a AND. Okay, so let me tell you something about the AND, right? So AND is nothing but a conditional statement which is satisfied only if two conditions supplied to it is true. So in if, we just used to take care of only one condition, right? That's nothing but the logical test. One, that's only one. But in and, we will be using two or more than two logical tests, and if all the logical tests in that statement is true, and if all the logical tests are true, then only the and statement for that particular equation will be true. Okay, let's look at it, right? So sports scholarship says the scholarship to the students are got only if they have 50 marks in their physical studies and their total score is above 150. So let's write and for it first. So equal to sign and press tab. So logic 1 is nothing but this value is greater than or equal to 50, comma, logic 2 is nothing but this value greater than or equal to 150. So we can still go with logic 3, logic 4, but since we have only two logics to be tested for, we will just go with two logic. Close the bracket, press enter. It says false. So that means this person has above 150, right? But his physical study score is less than 50. So he will not be eligible. So let's try it out here. There are only few students who has the eligibility to get the sports scholarship. Awesome. So let's make it more realistic with writing names. That is how we did here. That is eligible, not eligible, right? So what we can do is put a if condition in place of and, right? So I'm going to double click here to edit the formula, or you can use the F2 key. You can look at this, right? Here it says and of these two conditions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put an if condition here, press tab. If this formula is true, if it is true, then double quotes eligible, close the double quotes, comma. If it is false, double quotes not eligible, close the double quotes and close the bracket and press enter. Looks like this person is not eligible since it's not true. Let's double click here so that we get the entire details. So this is how you can use if and in a single statement. Here we looked at only the if statement. Here we looked at the if statement again. And here it's both if and together. Okay. Now let's look at the next example. Here, science fair. So the people who is eligible for science fair are the people who gets above 50 in mathematics and science. If both the subjects total up to 100, or if maths and science, if a student gets 50 in maths and in science, is eligible for a science fair. Let's look at how we can write a formula for that. Again, we'll have to use and because we need both the criteria to be satisfied and not just one. Okay, so how do we write it? Equal to sign and press tab. Logic 1 is nothing but this value to be greater than or equal to 50, comma. Logic 2 is nothing but this value greater than or equal to 50. Close the bracket, press enter. It says true. That means both maths and science scores are above 50. Double click to get the values for the rest, and you can also put a if condition for our safety. That is, if, press tab. If this condition is satisfied, you have to get eligible, double quotes closed, comma. If it is not satisfied, then we will have to get the word non-eligible. Double quotes closed, brackets closed. Okay, press enter. It says eligible, and if you double click, there you go. You get the answer. Okay, hope this is simple for you guys. Next, we will look at the school scholarship. So we looked at mathematical scholarship, where we just consider the mathematics score, that is just if statement. We consider the school scholarship, we consider the sports scholarship, where we took two values, that is physical studies and the total. So that's why we had to use and. For science fair, again we had to take two values, that is max science, right? Now let's look at school scholarship. So if somebody is eligible for school scholarship, that means they have to get 50 in any two subjects out of the three: max science, science physical, or physical studies max. The score should be 50 in each. This seems to be a little complicated for you guys, so let's look at how we can tackle that, right? So first we'll have to write a formula in such a way that we should see whether max and science is above 50, and then we'll write a formula that says science and physics 50, and then we'll look at physics and max 50. So that means we are solving for three conditions, and then we are giving a or statement in between, so that if any one of those conditions meet, then then the value will be true. So let's look at the formula. So first we will write the AND statement, that is equal to sign and press tab. Logic 1 is this is greater than or equal to 50, comma, this greater than or equal to 50. Okay, close the bracket, enter, that is true. So that means this AND is working. So we need to put two more ANDs between science physical studies and physical studies max. Okay, so how do we write that? We need a OR statement. So how do we write OR? Write OR, press tab. Logical 1 is the AND gate, press comma, type another AND, press tab. So our logic 1 is science greater than or equal to 50, comma, physical studies greater than or equal to 50. Close the bracket. So we have our two ANDs, plus comma again. So that will be our logic 3 of OR gate. That is an AND again, press tab. Logic 1 is nothing but physical studies greater than or equal to 50, comma, mathematics greater than or equal to 50. Close the bracket for and close one more bracket for OR. Now press enter. So that is true. So max and science have 50 here. So let's look at others too. It says true here because we have two subjects with above 50. True here. False here because there is no subject that's above 50. False here because only one is above 50. False here because none of the subjects are above 50. So you get the gist, right? So we have combined OR and here. Okay, so that's about OR and. So let's include a if statement to make it even more compelling. Press if, press tab. So the whole condition is this, press comma, put a double quote, eligible, close the double quotes, comma, and if it is false, not eligible, close the double quotes and close the bracket. So that's about if, or, and. So here it says eligible, double click here, so you get the eligibility criteria. So now this is about if, or, and statements of Excel. Hope this video was helpful. For more details, you can contact me at lanelabs1996@gmail.com. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and hoping to find more content like this in the future. Thank you.